conscious clothing conversation paired with real talk. I'm Sam, the healing hardware creator, and I'm hella hyped to get a little naked with you. All right, y'all, we about to go back. So, this one time I did a podcast a little bit ago with a wonderful woman by the name of Angela Solomon. We connected to each other through the Spice Suite, I want to say. Oddly enough, I've met so many beautiful people. Sometimes I can't narrow it down, I can't pinpoint it, but I'm always grateful and thankful for these opportunities to connect with so many different beautiful folks. And Angela wanted to have a conversation about how to turn passion into profit. And full transparency, I was still still navigating this entrepreneurship plane. And honestly, I still am as I grow to different levels and heights. So I never want to speak from the perspective of knowing it all, but just about sharing what I've experienced and what I do understand to be true as it pertains to my entrepreneurial journey. So without further ado, I present to you Two Moms Talking, Turning Passion into Profit with Angela Solomon.
Welcome to Two Moms Talk, where mompreneurs share their unique stories of starting and growing businesses. I'm your host, Angela Solomon, wife and mother of 3 sons, Beyonce's biggest fan, lover of fast cars and hot chocolate, attorney by training, and mompreneur on purpose. I believe in moms making money, and if you've ever wanted to be your own boss with a successful business, you've found your people. Here we go. Welcome to Two Moms Talk, where motherpreneurs talk babies, business, and basically everything else, and sometimes even Beyonce, because, well, it's Beyonce. I'm your host, Angela Solomon, and I am here today. I'm so excited to introduce our guest for today. She is a phenomenal woman. She is an art director, a creative professional, style expert, educator, designer. With no further ado, let me just introduce you to the multi-talented Sam Smith. Hi, Sam.
Hi, Angela. How are you?
I am fine. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited about this episode. I can't wait for you to just tell people exactly what you do. So just tell us a little bit about you and your babies and your business. Just give us a quick blurb about, and then we'll go deeper as we go.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, thank you so very much for welcoming me and my voice. And yes, I do a lot of the things in the space of art and fashion. A creative director, style strategist, and a healing hardware creator. So literally every, facet of my artistry is all about the message of just finding your peace, living life outside of the box, and, living it out loud and in color, and finding those things that speak to us. So it's always just an affirming space that I'm trying to create for my guests, because, of course, it's my space for me primarily. But I really love to also serve women business owners in the space of style, specifically, just helping to bring ease to fashion. I just think it's so unfortunate when folks just don't feel like they can show up to certain spaces because they don't have, designer labels or whatever the case is. So I'm that girl that really kind of helps that person get to the root of the things and really excavate, what it will take to help them shine in style. So that's a little bit about me as far as the career space. I am a mother of 1, a wife, and a daughter, and just still, navigating this life as I learn and adapt, new things. It's almost like, I'm really in a new territory, because I'm just forging a new path. I'm a first generation entrepreneur. And I come from a background, like my great grandfather was a sharecropper. So I have just a long lineage of just strong people, strong, silent people. So just me in this space of showing up very clear about my intentions, and just, so filled with love and such, is almost like foreign to my family because they're like, we don't put our emotions out here. But I just think it's important to just be yourself. And so that's just my responsibility and focus. So I do that through all of the things. So again, thank you so very much for having me here.
Well, I appreciate you coming to our little podcast, Two Moms Talk, because I see you've previously appeared on Good Morning Washington, which is
Yes.
a huge show in your area. So, are you in Baltimore or are you in DC?
So I am in Baltimore. However, I have links to DC. I am a Spice Girl, and that is one of the women business owners who are under the Spice Suite umbrella. And by that I mean there's a Black woman owned spice shop in DC, and she has just 21 women whom operate her space and also share their business with her customers as well. So it cooperative economics at its finest. So for Good Day Washington, we went on to just share a little bit about the Spice Suite, what we were doing, and just also about style. So that's just one of the connections that we have at the Spice Suite is just Good Day Washington, D.C.
I love that. Women working together. I mean, when we collaborate, there is nothing that we cannot do. So I love that. And I'm going to have to look that up, the Spice Suite. I love to go and support her business in DC.
Oh,
Well,
yes.
tell me a little bit more about how you started your business. How did you have the idea and how did you start it?
Well, to be honest, I always have been that person, child. It started when I was a kid, to just kind of take things apart and put it back together. I just had this, just this strong, just longing to just play with clothes, accessories, things. I started my business because I had wanted to create an accessory or recreate an accessory that I had saw from the Russell Simmons collection. It was a malachite beaded bracelet with like a suspended diamond charm. And when I
Oh,
saw
sounds
it, I said,
beautiful.
it was beautiful. It was very beautiful. And it was something that I like literally caught my eye. And I said, well, that's pretty because I just love that you can wear it with a watch. It was just very simple, but it was, I guess it just still just, it was so captivating, even though it was simple. And then I wanted to just start making something like that just for myself because I didn't really like a lot of jewelry on my wrists and neck and things, but I like staple pieces. My dad actually is a huge inspiration for just like my jewelry style because if you look at him now, he's got like layering necklaces on, he's got his nice gold rings. He's just like a fly guy.
Oh,
So, I
wow.
mean, yeah, between him, like his aesthetic and just kind of seeing that design, I was like, "Ooh," that gave me an idea to just start getting into making bracelets. And then I really started getting into like the healing properties of the stones that I used when I was pregnant with my daughter, because that was like a really, really, I guess, introspective moment in space for me as I was just, going through motherhood, pregnancy, adjusting to that, trying to figure out who this new woman was, who, this life that I'm bringing into the space. Just the healing stones were really a tool that helped me to just continue to center, and then it really allowed me to continue to expand my story as a business owner as to what I was doing. Because I wasn't just making jewelry, I was creating armor. So I refer to the bracelets as healing hardware for me because it's like it's the beads are just a smaller. They're like stepping stones to a bigger story. So I'll use language like find your peace and vibe so high because it is important for us to do those things in order for us to just to continue to forge the path and just do the life things and the day to day. We really have to speak over ourselves. So when you're wearing a bracelet, it's something small, but if it's crafted with love and intention, and additionally it has specific healing properties that resonate with you. To me, that just speaks more than just a regular bracelet that you can just get from a store. So
Wow. That I mean, you know what? I just want to hear about, like, can you tell us a little bit more about the healing stones? Like, what are the healing stones?
there's different types. And they're really so beautiful to look at. I'm literally staring at a few right now because they're naturally formed from the earth. They're just beautiful in their rare, raw form. However, they're faceted into these beautiful beads. So, I wish you could kind of see the color, but when you go to my page, you'll just see different stones, different colors and such. But
Tell us
Malachite,
where
for
your page
instance.
is. Tell us where it is,
Oh,
because I'm
sure.
sure people are going to listen and they want to know before, sooner than
Yes.
later, where to go see these healing stones.
Well, go check me out now, honey. So you're gonna go to New Vintage by Sam, spelled exactly how it sounds, New Vintage by Sam on Instagram or newvintagebysam.com. And what you'll see is just an array of just different beaded bracelets, heart healing hardware, just various stones. I love the different colored stones. They're just so vibrant and they pop off of the page like as soon as you look at them. I don't really have a favorite stone overall, but I have favorite stones for seasons. So as I'm going through different things and transitioning, I just really generally kind of gravitate towards wearing a specific crystal stone around my neck or wrist or what have you. So I love carnelian, which is a very, it's like a deep orange, almost kind of has like a red tone to it. And that's good for emotional warmth, communication, and sociability. And especially as I navigate marriage and just even as a parent, I just realized communication a lot of the times is such a thing. Like, it's not so much that we don't know what to say, it's perhaps we don't have the language to communicate it to that other person. So, it is such a layered, concept, the whole communication space. But if you continue to focus on wanting to be better, and then you look at a piece of armor on your wrist and it's a reminder to just continue to be better, then we'll continue to summon that of what we want into our space. So that's my hope, is that when people come to my space and they see the healing hardware, that they it will connect with them in that way, so that when they're wearing it they can literally focus on whatever it is that they want to summon into their space, whether it's peace, tranquility, more love, self love, nurturing. And that way, as we focus on it, we'll be able to bring it more into our space.
I love that. And I love the fact that, you're talking about, such soft concepts, the healing, the warmth, the just the communication vibes and the soft skills, but you're using like language like hardware and armor to just represent the strength behind it. And I love that. So who was your first customer and how did you make your first sale?
Oh, okay. So I used to work at, so listen, I have had a lot of different, I've worked for several different companies, but they've all had the same undertone, just customer service focus. So I would love to say that I have a very great sharpened knife in that arena, just being attentive to customers' needs. So while I'm at work, there was a young lady and she would just keep looking at me. And so one day she finally introduced herself and she said, "I'm sorry, you probably think I'm weird, but I really just love the accessories that you've been wearing, because I would just make it for myself, and just wear it to work." And
So you were
she's
your own first customer.
well, yeah, yeah, I really was. I was very much a proponent of just wearing my own stuff, recreating it. That still bleeds over into my style work because I'm all about redesigning as well. But yeah, I'm my first customer. So, but she was like my first, the first person who sewed into my artistry, which really affirmed me in a way that kept me going, which I think is different. You know what I mean? Because it's one thing to just do something for yourself, but it's another thing when someone sees value in it. Um, and that really kind of sparks you in a different way.
When somebody sees value, they pay you for it, then you're like, man, if this
Yes.
person sees value, then other people can see values, and hey, this might be a business.
That part. Yeah, sees value and they pay you for it. That is the
Right.
phrase. Yeah. Exactly. So I'm very grateful to her because she just was like, "Girl, please do this." So, and at that time, I had like, Angela. When I tell you, I've had like sketchbooks and just all kinds of things where I've visualized just being in the fashion space, but because I never had any formal fashion or jewelry design training, it was almost like I didn't think that I could do it. I was just going to college and doing the things that was, quote, the natural order of life. You go to school, you get a job, that thing. But tapping into my, quote, passion was very much a foreign thing for me, because that's not something that was more or less a luxury.
Yeah, and that the thing that you just said is, everybody's prescription, right? Go to school, get good grades, go to college. And especially these days, that may not be the right advice
Mm-hmm.
because, the things aren't there the way they used to be for our parents and grandparents. But it still takes a lot of courage and confidence to step out there on your own, even as a side hustle. So, can you just talk to us about how you got the confidence to step out there, how you overcame fear in a time where you kind of question yourself before you were able to move forward?
Sure. The funny thing is, I continued to just create, and I didn't like do anything real until maybe like a year after I had made my first formal sale. I had decided to really, pound the pavement and like put it out on Facebook and really beef it up a bit.
So wait a minute, you made a sale
Hmm.
and then you didn't make another sale for another year.
Right. Yeah.
Amazing.
It was a pause. It was a healthy pause in between. Because what I wanted to do was just kind of build it out a bit more. I've always been a storyteller, so I think that my brain just automatically works in let me just, kind of stockpile all the things I need. So when I'm finally ready to tell the world that I'm ready, it's nothing that could, hold me back. I already have everything ready to go. So just wanting to have designs ready and at least something to present to the world, something more. And then I started to do more pop-up shops on the weekends. And that really helped to boost my confidence, because that just showed me that, more people were interested in what I was offering. At that time, I still had a full time job. I was dating my husband well, my boyfriend at the time, which is now my husband. So I was juggling, the things and still just looking at this as a hobby, if you will. And then I guess what started to do it for me was when I started to see more revenue from the pop-up shops and business, and I had secured a standing date at a local lounge. So I was learning and seeing that I was able to build people equity in my community because the energy that I have on any wherever I work and whatever I do is always with love and just all of that good stuff. So it's just I'm going to be present in whatever space that I'm in and sharing. So folks would see that in a pop up and would want to invite me back. And it would just I would just be creating great relationships. So I will be getting invited to different spaces to pop up, oftentimes, honestly, with no, charge. So it would just be profit. And I would go to work and I would hate it there. And I would literally sit at my desk. And sometimes I would be working on my business while at my desk. Um, it was just a solid point when it literally was starting to take over. Like the business part that was as the hobby was 25%, then it jumped to about 60 to 75% to once it got to 80%, I was really quote miserable at my corporate
Right. You were
job.
like, why am I here?
But I don't want to do this anymore. I hate it here. So I'm like, this has got to give. And you know what, to be honest with you, like I had started doing the math in my head and I'm just like, I'm getting $25 an hour here. Like it was the framework for my new consciousness. I like to think of it now because it was like I started to understand that it was more my time was worth way more than what I was getting for it. And I felt like even just the mere exhaustion of just being here in that space and just not really feeling like the company was really for the community or doing anything that I felt was really helpful or just really maxing out on my skills. I was like, I'm bored here. Like I've got to do something else. So I was able to transition out of that space. It was a little messy, but
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Did you burn some bridges such that you would not be able to go back?
I didn't burn any bridges. I didn't burn any bridges, but it was a period there where it was a little sticky. Because that was around the time when I had left my job and then I got pregnant. So it was so many things happening all at once. So
I completely understand that. It got to a point before I quit my job too that I think at a certain point when you first get the job, you're so excited about it. And then when you start to move into a more entrepreneurial mindset, I started to get upset because I felt like they were pimping me like for my time. Like I know, just like as an attorney, they were billing my time out at like $200+, and when I got my paycheck after taxes, I was probably making about $30 an hour, and I was just like, oh, this something is wrong here. Like, this is not right. So I completely get what you're saying. But you said something that I wanted to just go back to about, just the time between your making your first sale and then a year later, because you had to get ready and you had to, get everything together. You wanted to make sure everything was right. A lot of times, some people want to get everything perfect before they actually start. And thank goodness that you were able to come out there and start. But what would you say, like, the difference between, preparation and procrastination is, such that you were able to move forward? Was it the affirmation of the lady who was so into your creations in the beginning that let you know that you had something viable to move forward, or was it something else that happened in between that finally, after a year, moved you forward?
It was, I really just feel like me just wanting to just try to tell the perfect story if this was something that I was going to do. I had always created and recreated things, but I acknowledge that, okay, so this is my space that I am creating. This is my story that I'm telling the world. So how do I want to embark upon that journey? Because I always saw that my business would evolve. You know what I mean? It would change and probably shape shift, but ultimately it would always have the same underlying tone to it. I think that just her, when she made her first purchase, it just further affirmed, like, okay, so go ahead and do this, and then just prepare, and that way you can feel more confident as you put it out there to the world because you've taken the time to just sit with it, be present with it.
Hmm. And that's so interesting, because now, just because I know when an entrepreneur first starts out, that is the shakiest time. That's when your confidence is the most fragile. And
Hmm.
you're looking for signs, you're looking for the affirmation. And so I make it my point, especially for teenagers or and young people who are starting businesses. I If they're selling something, I want to buy it. I want them to feel that affirmation that they have something valuable to offer to the world. And I mean, that's just your story is just a testimony to, we all need that first customer. We all need that person to say, "Hey, I see you and I value what you're doing, and keep going." So that's just so powerful. So what has been your biggest challenge so far? How long have you been in business, first of all?
Woof. I have been in business for 7 years. Well, technically, I would say nine, but formally on paper, legitimately, 7 years, filing taxes and such.
Well,
I
congratulations. That's big. That's
thank you,
huge.
thank you, thank you. You said, I'm sorry, you had a question
Well,
that you said. What was?
I'm sorry, I doubled my questions up. The first one was how long you've been in business, and that was
Yes.
7 years. But I wanted to find out,
Hmm.
in those 7 years, what has been your biggest challenge in business?
Taking the help. Um, my biggest challenge has been taking the help, and oh, this is so layered. Taking the help, but the reason why it was very hard for me to take the help was because it was very complicated for me to be able to explain what it was that I needed. Um, and then, unfortunately, I would in the past get frustrated very quickly with the expectation that folks would catch on. But I understand that there is, a specific way to just kind of break things down, especially as my creative brain just kind of just goes into different, just so all over the place. Just learning how to be patient with myself, one, and two, be able to document my process so that it can be duplicated, and also so that I can delegate it to others. So that's my biggest struggle, or was my biggest struggle, was being able to accept the help.
Hmm. I can relate to that as well. For the listeners, if you are enjoying Two Moms Talk so far, please do me a favor. Rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast on whatever platform you're listening to. We'd appreciate it so much. So I completely get that. I just did a blog post today about Upwork, which is, I do like something that I love this week. And for me, just being a recovering control freak myself, just feeling like nobody can do it as good as I can, and just being, knowing it takes so much time to get somebody else up to speed, just feeling like I can do it so much faster. But at the end of the day, when you start to really get busy, you realize that you're holding yourself back, right? By not delegating those things that are not really your gift. Just giving those things to somebody else that, if anybody could really do, and just focusing on what you do best is going to just help you be even more successful and get even more done. So I completely relate to that challenge as well. But what has been the secret to your success so far? How have you stayed in business for these 7 years? And you seem to be a happy business owner, even in these challenging
Yeah.
times. What has been your secret to success?
Honestly, just being my authentic self. Um, I was in a room earlier today in Clubhouse, and they were talking about, the importance of reels and this stuff and all of these algorithms and everything. And I just, to my core, just said, like, but everything isn't for everyone. And ultimately, we have to do what works for us, because trying to keep up in a rat race is just, it's, it's not popping. It's just not, we're not going to do that anymore. And we really have to, well, I've learned to just create my own standard in my business and expectation and culture, so that it's easy for me to maintain and it feels good for me to maintain. And I think that's the most important thing. It has been for me, rather. I really just enjoy creating. And now I've been able to link it to a piece of artistry, just fashion, that allows me to continue to tell my story, but also share the deeper message of how important it is for us to take care of ourselves. So I think that that's definitely, at the root of all the things. That's why I'm so happy, because I get to care for myself through my business and share it with the world. And it resonates with so many people who can't get with that.
Absolutely. And I just want to just talk to you about, a personal thing that I had even when I was pregnant and after I became a mom, that first year of, having somebody to that you have 100% to care for, and you don't even know what you're doing. You're just learning as you're going. Like, it just took a lot out of me. And I look back at pictures during that time and I was looking a hot mama mess. You hear me? Like,
Mm,
my clothes, I
mm.
had on t-shirts from, those t-shirts that you get from like tournaments that have like the tournament sponsors on the back.
Yes,
I
yes.
was wearing those every day. I had on mom jeans. My hair was a mess because, I mean, my sole focus was just keeping this human that I had alive, and I really deprioritized myself. And I see other mothers that are, fabulous with newborns, and I'm like, wow, that was just not me. Like, I just lost myself in motherhood. So, do you have occasion to see mothers who are going through motherhood, that where motherhood has completely taken them over? And have you ever like given anybody a makeover or rescued them from that situation?
Well, so in the style space, I absolutely have served women, in the capacity of, businesses, as moms, for sure. There's such beauty in motherhood, and the process of it is just, it can be a lot to navigate. And then, especially, as your body is physically changing and emotionally changing, you just want to continue to keep some semblance of yourself. So I absolutely love showing up for women in that way. I actually have a blog by the name of Dressed in Motherhood, in which I just share my personal experience in motherhood and just, some of the things that have helped me. I'll be continuing to just kind of beef up the conversation just around different tips and tricks that you can do just to really help yourself feel pulled together. Because I do think of style as a form of self care. It's a superficial layer,
Yes,
but it matters. You know what I mean? Like, and we
it
want to feel
does.
comfortable. We want to feel comfortable in our clothes, but we don't want to look sloppy in our clothes. We want to feel pulled together. And by comfort, I believe that is synonymous with confident. You know what I mean? We want to feel good when we walk into the room. We just want to feel rooted, strong, solid on our square. So,
It's amazing what outfit and some makeup can make you feel, especially in this pandemic. Let me tell you, in the beginning, I was slipping. I was like, oh, I'm home. I don't have to leave. Let me just, stay in these pajamas. And I caught myself one day walking past the mirror. I had to double take. I was like, who is that? I was like, oh, no, no, let me get my life together.
Yes,
And,
yes.
just completely uplifted my mood and just changed my perspective. So, absolutely, clothes and hair and all that stuff, all that self care stuff makes a huge difference.
It does. And it doesn't mean that you have to like go all the way crazy. I just feel like there's a lot of pressure. As you were talking about these fabulous moms of newborns, I was about to ask, so was it on Instagram? Was it a picture? Was it a still shot?
Right?
Because it's probably a highlight reel and we don't believe you. You need more people. So I feel like, there's really the standard sometimes. It's just like you gotta show up and be 5 stars all the time. But the point for me is just always emphasizing like as long as you feel good from your core, like whatever it is that you're wearing, that energy is going to be top notch. There's sometimes when folks come to me like, oh my goodness, I would never think to put that together. And I'm just like, okay, well, great. Well, I did, and I feel great in it. And, I'm happy that you now can try to pair these prints together. I love it. So I don't really follow fashion rules per se. I really subscribe to style because style is individually focused. You know what I mean? It's about you. Whereas fashion is more or less the industry. What is the industry talking about? And we all know that the industry is on some bullshiggity, but it's really not. It's really about what makes you feel good at the core. And definitely the moms, we have to just be mindful of what it is that we do and how we take care of ourselves because a lot of the times we're doing the most. And even just like, for instance, I have a wardrobe planning program. That's what I offer my guests. And under that umbrella, that includes like wardrobe pairing. So if you have items in your closet, you don't know how to wear them, just talking through those pieces and getting some ideas from me. If you have, just like, just a new occurrence in your life, a new baby, and trying to figure out how to, shift your closet, some women are just anti-maternity clothes, and that's fine too. There's
That
a
was
way
me.
to
That
really,
was me.
me too. I was like, I'm not doing this. What are we
I'm not
doing?
wearing that big Empire shirt. I'm gonna wear this tight leotard and show this whole belly.
Hello, hello. Thank you very much. You're gonna get all of these 7 months. Let's
You're gonna
go.
get all of it. And you know what? Much to my mother's chagrin, because mothers
Hmm.
in that generation could not fathom showing that belly
Mm,
like that.
mm, It is a brand new day. That's why I said we are really forging new paths, new territories. It's We are really different. And the funny thing, it's so funny that you said mom. So when I was in the hospital after I had literally just given birth to my daughter, and I had a C-section, which was unplanned. I just at that point I was just like my it was so much happening. I just wanted to make sure she was safe, I was safe. But we get through the whole process of the birth. And in the room, my mom says to me, as she sees me kind of like doubled over, she points to my stomach and goes, well, what are you going to do about that? And I said, as I'm in the hospital room, sis, like, what are we?
You're like,
And
I
I
just gave birth 5 minutes ago.
literally 5 minutes ago, there was a whole baby here. So I just like, this us being gentle with ourselves, like, it's so necessary. It has to happen unapologetically. So
That
I
I
do
had
that
a
through
similar
style.
experience too, because I have a older son, and then I had twins. And so after
Mm,
my twins, I had a cousin who
mm,
moved to the area, and he came to see me in the hospital after I just had twins. Now, but so he sees me, sees the twins. He goes to my mother and says, is she gonna be like that forever? Is she okay? Is she gonna be all right? Is she gonna be able to get the weight off? Like, he
the
was so
nerve.
concerned. 5 minutes
Oh,
after I dropped two humans out of my body, that we impose certain standards on ourselves, but then we have people in our lives that hold us to a certain standard. And oh my gosh, it's no wonder we have so much pressure and carry
mhm.
so much guilt about too much stuff, right?
Mm. Yes. My word for this year has been ease. So I've literally been trying to work on my detachment from some of those things. because they don't serve us at all. And as we rest upon the things that allow us to feel good and really get into ourselves, like we realize that other people just have their own battles that they're fighting too.
And they just
And
try to put them on us, and we have to
hello.
repel them with our armor, right?
Oh
With
yes,
the
yes,
armor,
for sure, definitely. Oh
right?
yeah.
So back to
Mm.
your business. What do you prefer? 'Cause it sounds like you're just such a style guru, and I don't, like to use the word guru lightly, but it does sound like you have such a vast command of the style space. Which do you prefer? Do you prefer designing accessories, or are you more of a wardrobe designer?
Oh, honestly, I love wardrobe. Like my ultimate goal is to just to continue to design and get more into the apparel and ready to wear fashion space. The hardware is just a way for me to control my creativity on a small scale. But absolutely, I love just playing with garments, clothes, silhouettes, dressing people. Like it's really fun for me. There's you remember the movie Clueless? When she had this computer that would it would put an outfit on the screen and you can like swap out the bottoms, swap out the shoes, swap out the top. So that's how my brain works. So I'm always trying to think of ways to create sustainable looks for myself, and ultimately just building out sensible fashion pieces, something that's versatile that can go from, a size 2 to a size 20. So I am actively working on projects and more, apparel based items that would speak to the style space, but I really love it all. It's so much fun.
And you mentioned earlier, it was so quick. I just wanted to make sure that we all got it. You have a blog called Dressed in Motherhood. Now, can we
Yes.
find that blog on your website, samwashere.org?
Yes, you can. You can go right to the page for Who is Sam, and you'll be able to see more information about me. And there is a link to explore the blog and more. You'll be able to actually click a link also to explore the website to see the healing hardware. So,
Nice. So let's just go. I love this URL that you selected for your business. Now there's a vast number of options that are available. A lot of people do their names. A lot of people
mhm.
do their businesses. You decided to do Sam Was Here, and that is so just powerful. What was the inspiration? Like what did you say to yourself when you're like, oh, my website is going to be Sam Was Here?
So I felt that New Vintage by Sam is literally my style, my personal style, my aesthetic, my personal love note to the world. Whereas samwashere.org is just the footprints that I leave in other spaces. So just me being able to help with different creative projects or serve as, a style strategist on something else is just me being able to be a part of someone else's vision and help bringing that to life.
Wow, a footprint. I get that. Sam was
Mhm.
here, just symbolically leaving a footprint in different places. That's powerful. I love that.
Thank
So,
you.
what advice would you give to mothers who are listening, who are wanting to get into the style space, wanting are creatively inclined, but just don't know where to get in? And what advice would you give to them?
Start now and perfect later. Give yourself grace through the process.
Grace,
Um,
yes, grace.
be careful who you share your vision with because you were specifically appointed and anointed with that vision. So others won't see it as you do, and thus others won't trust it as you do, and they may destroy it before you even get to,
Mm.
breathe more life into
Listen, I got all kind of finger snaps on that. Go ahead.
it. Honey, look, because we're so excited and we're so enthused, and just as we need someone to, we appreciate being affirmed because it helps us, that fuels us to keep going. If you show your work to someone and it's still in the premature baby stages and they shred it to pieces, it has, it could have adverse effects. You know what I mean?
Oh my
And
gosh.
you could you could be spending more time trying to nurture those wounds than just continuing to stay, nose to the grindstone.
And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be somebody that you love and trust.
Oh
Somebody
yeah,
that you
always.
love and trust because you're sharing your vision with them. And because they have not gotten that information, that vision, they have not got that special anointing, as you say, they are not going to see your vision. So you cannot expect them to. But nonetheless, you feel like you have to tell somebody, right? And as
Yeah,
soon as
yeah.
you don't get that affirmation, as soon as you get that questioning from them, that doubt, then that's the seed that you take on yourself. That doubt and seed is planted in you. So what
Oh
do
my
you?
goodness.
This is great, Sam. So what should people do that have a new idea that they want to discuss, or they have to get out? Sometimes you just have
Oh
to say
yeah.
it out loud. How do you prevent getting shot down before you even get started?
You have to curate your spaces. You have to go where the dreamers are. You have to go with the folks
Let me snap on
where the
that.
folks
I need
are
a,
who
I need a snap button because you are
listen,
dropping
we
some
are the
gems
dreamers of
today.
the dreams. Listen, I know you know Willy Wonka now. Willy Wonka is one of my favorite movies, and there are so many gems in that movie. I know I'm going to sound super hippie, whatever the case is, but we are the dreamers of the dreams, and we have to go where we are, because like those folks who shoot us down, generally they can't see themselves in different spaces. So how could they see you, ascending to higher heights? So their limitation, we cannot subject ourselves to other people's limitations. So we gotta go where the dreamers are. We gotta get in those rooms, you know what I mean? Move with intention and with love, but get around some folks that dream like you do.
Mm, listen, whew, I had to take a sip of water on that because that right there, that is the challenge. There are so many people who have dreams and business ideas that have died inside them, that did not even get off the
Mhm.
ground because they told their best friend, their spouse, their mother, their sister, their brother, and they called them crazy. They told them that it
Mhm.
would never work. And it just didn't go anywhere. And then they look up a year, 2, 5, and somebody else had the same vision and actually executed. And that could have been them. And so I agree with you that that's why there's value in the mastermind. That's why what you're doing with the Spice Girls is so powerful. Just being able to be in community with other women who can support you and affirm you and help you, because there's nobody can know everything. And so it's just great to surround yourselves with other people who are on the same journey that can say, hey, I heard about this. It may be able to help your business. Just to be able to share those resources and that knowledge. I always say that women who share knowledge share strength. So what you said,
Oh
you
yeah.
just said a word, because
Thank you.
everybody is not going to be able to see what you see. So we do have to go. The dreamers have to hang with the dreamers. Amen.
Yes. And you're right. Like I mean, you know, we this self-care journey, yes, we're supposed to get into ourselves, fortify ourselves, but that's so that we can make our community that much more, whole. And I don't want to be out here alone trying to figure out all of the things, and I'd rather have a team, you know what I mean, or other women, or a tribe, where we can lean on each other and just, like you said, like spreading that knowledge amongst us is so much easier. It's so much better for me to have a post. I'm just like, hey girls, can y'all share this for me? And it gets out to 20 different networks than me sit up there and try to figure out how to generate leads and direct these sales funnels. Like that gives me a headache. So I focus always on community, because, we just have to build those. We really do.
Cooperative economics.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's how we used to operate, and
Yeah.
that's what we can get back to sustain success in our communities and beyond our communities. It's just working together, because everybody has different gifts. So why not leverage other people's gifts, right? I might not be great with funnels, but I'm great with copy. Or I
Mhm.
might not be a great photographer, but somebody else has some other skill that we can all collaborate and use. And I'm not saying barter, because
Mhm.
sometimes that barter system doesn't work either. But I'm
Oh
just
yeah.
saying, support and refer, so that we all can win together. Because I think that's just powerful when we all win together. Because who wants to be successful on a beach by themselves around the world? No. You want to be
Hello.
successful with friends. You want to have fun with people that
Yeah.
you love to be around. So, the
Mhm.
mastermind is important. The community is important. And all the gems that you dropped today, Sam Smith,
Thank you.
this has been amazing. So before we go, I just want to find out what advice would you give just mothers, not necessarily, business advice, but just from being a mother. You've been a mother now, you have your daughter. What's your best
Yeah.
advice that you can give to mothers?
Um, there is strength in your humanity. Just, I think, I don't know why, and perhaps I'm just thinking of my own experience looking at my mom, just feeling like she has to be a superwoman, have it all figured out, all together, all of the things in all of the ways, not allow me to see her cry. Um, I just don't have that. I don't have that. I just, really keep it honest with my daughter with love. And, I don't tell her everything, but I humanize myself so she understands that mommy doesn't have it all figured out. However, mommy has been here longer and, just, letting her see me, so that it's not this like line of demarcation in the sand, like child, daughter, son, whomever. It's not a hierarchy. Just understanding we are in this together. We're working together. I'm learning you, you're learning me. And I'm going to love on you. And I'm going to, your safety rails, but I'm still learning as well. So, she will see when I tear up. If I mess up, I'll say, you know what, my bad. I apologize. You know what I mean? So just being human and allowing her to see that.
That is
That's
so
my advice.
wise. So wise. So wise,
Thank
Sam.
you.
I love that.
Thank
Because we
you.
don't want to set a standard that our children feel that they can't even attain, right? And it's
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
false standard, right? So just being
Yes.
human, apologizing when we're wrong, that's so powerful. And that's one of the things I admire my mother for, because she would say, you know what, that was wrong. I'm so sorry. And that was huge. Just,
Yes.
for her to humble herself and say, hey, I'm human too. Forgive
Mhm.
me and let's move on. And that was something that I really remember from my childhood, and I'm sure your daughter is going to appreciate that part of just you showing that humanity with her.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
um, what's new for you? What do you have? Are you launching anything, or what's new? How can we support you, and where can we find you?
So, if you are interested in learning more about the healing hardware, you can always check out newvintagebysam.com. You can take home a piece or share with a loved one. Additionally, I am beefing up my style conversation, so showing up more in that space and talking on more panels and such. So, I'm organizing a few projects now. And I do have a few collections projects in the works. I love collaborating with different artists, just different designers. As I continue to just like share my vision with the world, like I'm always like, there's so many other folks that I would love to bring into the fold to like, just connect and build with. So I am actually beefing up the Dressed in Motherhood blog, but all of those things will be updated to the website as well. But most importantly, you can follow me on Instagram at New Vintage by Sam, for any updates, and just continue to check samwashere.org and newvintagebysam.com.
Well, that's great. And any time is a great time, be it Valentine's Day, Sweetest Day, birthday, any day is a great day to pick up some healing hardware. So definitely check out samwashere.org, to support Sam Smith and her business, because she is amazing. I'm so glad that you took time to talk to us today on Two Moms Talk, Sam. I just wish you all the best for continued success. And I know that you will have it, because you are such a genuine, wise, and authentic soul that I'm just glad that we had a chance for our paths to cross. So thank you so much for coming on today to share with us your business journey.
It's really been my pleasure, Angela. I promise you, whatever you see in me is just a reflection of what's in you. So I really appreciate, you just creating the space for moms, and just, I'm grateful. Thank you so very much for welcoming me.
If anything you just heard resonated with you, please do me a favor. Rate, review, and subscribe to the Two Moms Talk podcast. And visit twomomstalk.com for information on coaching and courses to help you start and grow your mompreneur business.